I tried for years to like make the universe, but I just didn't possess the 3D talent to like make a cyberpunk dystopian city that I could like shoot videos in and do all that stuff because like I wanted to do that. I had like ideas for insane visuals, story plot. Like a major inspiration for me was Pilot, like Pylot. He's a synthwave artist, but he incorporates like guitar and like vocals that are just gorgeous. And then like, but his whole thing is based off this insane story that all his music is like derivative narratives of his story.
Right.
So
yeah.
it's really cool to see like how he took that idea and turned it into songs, or took the songs and turned them into stories and then made them all link together. The guy's got like books. His Discord has like a fandom around it. It's insane, but it's super fun and it's super cool. So I was thinking like, oh, how can I do something like that, but you know, keep it, I don't know, like realistic and not like too cheesy.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing I hate is like I hate like things that are like stupidly cheesy and things that look overdone, things that don't look natural. And like if you have to force it, like why would anybody care? Like they're like, whoa, like
Yeah.
I don't like having stuff forced on me. Like I don't want to force stuff on other people. I just want them to look at it and be like, hey, like that looks cool. Like maybe I'm into that. So
See,
that's
what's
kind of how my whole project set up.
what's sick about VR and some of the stuff that you can do here is like community building and like some of the aspects of like actually experimenting with building like 3D worlds and seeing some of your ideas come to real fruition, like almost tangible fruition, is also really cool in my opinion. I feel like
Oh yeah.
I need to get you with a few people that I know, because if you're talking about like wanting environments made and stuff like that for like music videos, like, you know, having a good avatar made with some full body tracking, like you can make so many visual elements out of that stuff, just for like background footage on the television, or even like music videos if you're well versed enough and experienced enough at producing things like that. And it's like there's a lot of potential with a medium like this. And you know, as like from I gathered last time, you don't do a lot of VR performances, do you?
So not really, mainly because like the VR performances that I were doing, like there wasn't a lot going on. I'm scheduled for a couple shows coming up this month and next month. But they're more like festival type shows. So I got
Right.
booked as like a headliner for one, and then going to the other one. I don't know. I gotta look at where I fall in the lineup, but it was cool because like I don't want to overdo it, right? Because if you perform every day, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. They'll be like, oh, he's playing again. Oh, he's playing again.
Yeah.
I've had people come up to me and be like, hey, like, when are you playing? Like that right there is what I want. I want people to come up to me and be like, when is this guy playing? When can I make the time to go see him? Because then you've done something that's created an attraction to your project specifically. You've
Yeah.
become unique in the eyes or in the ears of that listener. So that's like kind of why I haven't been playing a lot recently, is because, you know, you got to build the hype. Otherwise, there's no point.
That does make sense. What are those shows, by the way, just in case anybody wants to catches onto it?
Oh man, I think I know Takedown hit me up for something. I think it's either in February or January, but that was for a dark event, like Club Dark. And then there's this other one called Gear Fest that I'm playing, and that one's upcoming. I think it's either the first week of February or the last week of January. I'd have to get you those dates, but yeah, so those are the two that I'm kind of looking forward to.
I have a question. What is the major differences on performing in a virtual setting and then performing in a real life setting?
Oh man. So first off, like you have to they're both masked, which is kind of hilarious. So real life, you're masked, and then virtual reality, you're also masked. It's just a different mask. So
Yeah.
for me, real life is like, okay, like I got to make sure my mask is good. Is my power supply on? Is my hood Velcroed to the top of me? Is everything good? Like we're having a fit check for like 20 minutes before the actual event, making sure everything's looking good, everything's working, or my monitor's working.
Right.
And then you go up there and you perform, right? And then you're like making sure that, okay, like are my fans in my helmet going? Because I know if they're not, I'm not going to be able to see in about 20 minutes. Like, so you have to keep all those things in consideration. With VR, you put the headset on, you're like, okay, like I've got controllers on my hands, like can I
Right.
see? So you flip up the mask just a little bit to try to like see the decks when you're playing. So that's a little hectic. You try to engage with your audience by like moving your hands around and stuff. I have full body. I just haven't figured out how to make it work yet. I got the Vive Ultimate set, and it's just a nightmare to try to get it all working. But so yeah, I'd say the biggest differences are, I'm not worried about as many logistical aspects, and then the visual aspects in real life, as opposed to like, hey, I'm going to go stand behind this virtual deck. I'm going to lock myself into position, and then I'm just going to make sure that, I wiggle my hands every once in a while to show people that I'm actually there.
Right.
So when you're performing in real life, you have to be like, you're just going, you're really like, hey, I'm here. I'm really involved with what you guys are doing out there.
Right.
And on it's much more fun to be creative in VR, I think. There's like the ability to be a little more spontaneous because the pressure is really not there. Like if something happened and it was a catastrophic failure, like all I'd have to do is take off my headset and walk into my living room. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
Like,
yeah. You just
I can just ignore
just
all the
quit.
messages. Yeah. But in real life, if you mess up and you are on stage and you are there, you have to own that, and you have to fix it on the spot, because people like either paid for the show or whatever. It's more of a it's a way more professional environment, I guess. But to be fair, just let me
real quick to clarify, are you like, so I know that some people in VR just like will post a link into a media player of their music and it's like a set list. But then there's others that are actually DJing live, like at that moment. Are you like, do you actually DJ live within the game, or is that just something you strictly do when you're on stage at like at an actual event? I'm just trying to clarify.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's a great question because I've heard that a few times too. I'm always playing live. If I'm doing a set and you expect me to be an artist, I am playing live. I'm mixing live. Some misconceptions that I hear about mixing live is like, oh, are you making the music at that time? I was like, well, no, but we are mixing the music live. So it's one song into another, or 2 or 3 songs playing at the same time, and that's really like the art of it, right? Is finding that stuff that sounds good and being able to do it. If you're just putting a playlist on, like Spotify DJ can do that for me.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to come sit in a world that the reason I want to see an artist perform is because I want to hear how their brain works when it comes to musical composition and what they're arranging and like how they're figuring it all out. So for me, and I started kind of the music career stuff back in 2015. I went to Tomorrow World in Georgia, that one that got rained out and we had to walk like 10 miles to find a bus. There's a crazy story with that, but yeah, so like back then when I started, I was like, I'm going to do this like the right way. And like back then there was a whole bunch of stigma about like, oh, if you ain't playing vinyl, like you ain't shit. And like, if you're on a controller, like you're a nobody. Like, so it was a lot of like using a controller to play like a vinyl DJ and then trying to figure out like how to not be the one that's like not a real DJ. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was the stigma back in the day. So I don't know, maybe I just carried that all the way with me. It's like I will always play. I will always do my best to make sure that I'm giving someone an actual performance, making actual music, and trying my absolute best to make it not fall into that old stigma of
that's professional. That's professional DJ. Right there, though, because there are people, especially in this community, that do the lazy way of DJing, which I've witnessed that firsthand a few times, where it's like I've been invited to like events and they're like, oh yeah, we're doing this, and then I'm like talking to the person and they're like, no, this is just a set list I threw up, and then they just stand behind the controls like they're actually doing something, which then honestly that kind of pisses me off, because it's like, again, just like you said, if I wanted that, I could just go throw my playlist on. I don't want to like listen to something you made a while ago, which is just, thrown on YouTube. I would rather get something original, maybe with some new music or some old stuff that only you would listen to, that's thrown in the mix. You know what I mean? Like exactly like what you said. I find that very intriguing. You know what I mean? Like it is very interesting that there's also in real life a stigma between DJs, like, oh, you don't do this thing this certain way, and you know what I mean? How common is that in the like more modern setting, or do you not see that as much?
So, I mean, there's a lot of genre nuance like that. So, just kind of to preface this, going back to the 2015 to 2017 timeframe, the stigma was, oh, you ain't on vinyl, you ain't shit. It's like, okay, cool, got it. I know I'll never make it as an artist, whatever. I'm doing my best. I'm trying. And if there was the other one, when 2018 to 2021, I would say, was more like, if you're not producing your own music, you ain't shit. So that was the one that got a lot of people wound around the axle, and they're like, oh, you're not making your own music? You're just DJing? Like, you're not an artist. You're a DJ. So then there was like that dichotomy of like artist, DJ, and then you have like what people would call a producer, right? So, or a producer, DJ, and then you put them both together and you have an artist, I guess would be like the way to look at it.
Yeah.
So for me, I was doing the DJing thing first, and production came later. For a lot of people, production comes first, and then they learn to DJ. So I've taught people how to DJ because I knew how to do it already, and then they taught me how to produce. So one of the artists that I really look up to, who I taught how to DJ in Discord, was actually Space Yeti. And we were chilling in a Discord call, and he's like, dude, I got my first show at a bar coming up. I need to learn how to DJ. And I was like, oh man, like how much time you got? He's like, I got like a couple days. And I'm like, oh okay, no. This will be fun. So I had to teach him how to DJ in Discord, and then funny enough, full circle, we were both at Lost Lands this past year, and I said hi to him, and I was like, dude, no way, what's up, man? Like, how's it going? Like, how you doing? He's like, dude, I just want to say thank you for teaching me how to DJ. Like, it's such a crazy thing, but like, yeah, that was like one of the coolest moments, like for me as a young artist, getting to teach somebody something, and then, kind of full circling that. But anyway, just kind of going back, there's just like a big difference in the scene just based off of like that kind of thing. So
right,
a lot of people got over it, and nowadays it's more like, oh, what do you play? So like you have how people in the dubstep scene kind of classify. It's like you have house artists, you have dubstep artists, and then you have like rhythm artists and tear out artists. That's like how the four major food groups of EDM are right now, is what it seems like.
Right.
And yeah. DMB somewhere sprinkled in like between house and whatever else. But DMB is coming up again, so I'm really excited about that. That'll be cool. But nobody talks about like synthwave artists or like lo-fi artists or a bunch of different. Actually, like it's the subgenres that nobody really cares about.
I'm not gonna lie, synthwave and some of synthwave elements are some of my favorite things in like the EDM scene. I guess that shit is milk to my ears, and that sucks because I don't hear a lot of unique songs coming out of that. Which, I mean, I guess there's only some ways that you can play off of a certain genre type without removing specific elements from it, you know what I mean, and just completely changing it. But it's like, no, I've noticed a lot of weird trends. Have you noticed like the kind of wet sounds that people have been really like tapping onto recently, where it almost sounds like the beat itself is just dripping? Have you ever heard those kind of sounds before?
I don't think so. You definitely have to show me what you're talking about.
I will probably show you here sometime soon. I got to find a song that actually has it in it. But I know a few artists that always like seems like just tap into that sound so well, and you can feel it's like a texture. It's like straight texture.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
Interesting.
I have no way to describe it
definitely.
because I'm not a sound engineer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I love when people try to explain music with words. It's just so fun to like hear like what their brains are coming up with and like how they like audibly understand it, I guess. So that's